listen.
This company is being bled like a stuck pig, Mac, and I got a paper trail to prove it. Check this out. Take a look at this.
I couldn't think of a more horrible job if I wanted to. And you have to do it.
I will look for you. I will find you.
It's a trap!
Jack, I want you to draw me like one of your French.
I think I'll kill you.
Think of my children.
You don't have any children.
Someday I might.
Shut up.
Benny is your average LA rioter. Sorry, that's it. I just figured it out.
Perfect. Welcome to the Iron Seas, everybody. As always, we have our hosts, A.C Pritchard, Evaleighmusic over here, Kahuna, and our lovely guest, Bonsart, down there.
The gentleman himself. Welcome across the pond.
Yes, with his own little Quato going on there.
Little Quato. We are Team Quato over here.
We are. That's correct.
Yes.
Mucho Quato.
So,
is that what we're saying?
Yeah, mucho Quato. As always, how this week has been crazy for me. I managed to get our entire schedule done for the week, so you can head over to the Iron Seas YouTube and check that all out.
I pretended to help.
Yes, we got our stuff in order this week, guys. Chat's going to be proud of us.
Don't get used to it, but it was a good week. It was nice to be firing on all cylinders. Yes.
So we're feeling good, and I think this calls for a nice fancy newsletter this week. Since I'm all caught up, I'll get some writing done too.
All right.
Evalie, how was your week?
It's been good, man. Like you said, it's been busy. Just getting content done. We did a video together reacting to the Xbox Live Showcase that I believe is dropping on Thursday. I want to say.
Either Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember which order.
Sometime this week. That's coming out. So we talked about that for a little while. It was fun to watch that and get excited about some games coming out. And there was some duds for sure. And there's also some really good looking ones coming down the turnpike. So that was a fun little chat. And then of course I got my Tainted Grail video out there, which is the first time I've ever done a impressions video.
It's the first time he's done a solo project on the internet.
Yeah, so the first one was Get Good mode, and that ruffled. Yeah, that got me kicked out of certain.
I was trying to imply you
ownership. I think.
Okay, so you ruined the joke. It's over, but no.
I like your Get Good video of it. Yeah, no, I like everything.
Yeah.
Kahuna, how was your week?
Crazy busy, dude. Like my kids both had strep throat, and I've had it twice in a row, so it's been kicking my butt a little bit. But dude, I'm back at it now. All I have to do is fight the allergies, dude. Besides that, I'm good, dude. I'm excited to be here. Excited to talk about fun projects and just shoot the shit with everybody. Plus, Bonsart's cool. He and I have talked before. It's fun to have him on the show.
Yeah, he goes way back with the whole community, pretty much.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that said, with the sickness and all that, thanks for being able to, and you too, Evalie, with the busy schedule, you guys both being able to hop in and do some videos. That was awesome. And Bonsart, how's your week been, man?
Very busy. I was, of course, my Kickstarter is now live for Night Watch, a role-playing game. Mm-hmm. So I've been very busy working on the interiors of the lore book. That is nearly done, so I can send that off to revision. And all we need to include then is the art, and then that should be done. Meanwhile, trying to get the funding done. The project itself was funded for 3 hours, but the actual goal is still a far way to go. But we're getting close to our second stretch goal, so hopefully we reach that by the end of the week. And yeah, just keep going on working on the interiors of the books.
Very cool. Very cool.
Amazing. Keep him busy. Keep him busy.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. We'll say hi to the chat quick. We got Bill Armstrong and Hale, Bill, and Ultimate Kahuna. We got a few others there who haven't commented in the chat yet, but that's fine.
They're being a little shy. Well,
Yeah.
Lurkers are people too, or bots.
Yes.
I don't
people?
consider.
Oh,
I
well.
consider them second-class citizens. I think we should identify all the lurkers. That way, we can just know who they are in public. Perhaps if they wore something on their shoulder. Anyway.
Yes, sir. Yeah, but no, we appreciate lurkers here too. We appreciate lurkers.
That's what my message implies. Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like much about Z lurkers.
Oh yeah. Our movie this week was the Quatermass experiment, I believe. I thought it was
Quater.
I
thought it was Quatermass too. It's Quatermass.
I was reading Quatermass. We're all dumb. Sorry.
It's very
Well, it's
Americanized, is what we are. That's all.
Yeah, it's like, have you ever seen those things where if you take a word and you keep the last and first letter in place, and then you just jumble the middle letters, you can still read it as if it's all together? It was one of those. Like, you read it, and then it may have even been Quatermass at some point, and then it got Mandeled. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Quatermass. It is indeed Quatermass Experiment. And Experiment is spelled with just the X, no E. Forgotten R, forgotten E. There you go.
It kind of reminded me of like The Thing and other like movies of the time, stuff like that. This I think this whole genre that kind of came out of the Lovecraftian era of like fear of cosmic entities and stuff like that. It was interesting, kind of like a onto a time machine. What were your guys' initial thoughts?
I watched the trailer for it, and I thought it was going to be more of a like campy, was that Science Mystery Theater 3000? I thought it was going to be that kind of vibe, and it wasn't. It was very sincere. So I don't know if the trailer I watched was just kind of off, but it was different than I was expecting.
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch all of it. I watched a portion of it. I've just been, again, super, super busy with the kids. But, and that being said, this didn't seem like a movie that was going to appeal to their taste, especially. But I like watching older movies. I like when you can watch an older film and it doesn't bore you. A portion of this film I watched did not bore me.
Yeah, and to point out something specific, I saw that, when compared to like other, because did we watch the original Godzilla on Iron Seas? Was that we did?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Like even comparing it to that, the camera is doing a lot. Like I feel like whoever the camera crew was, or the director of the camera, whatever, whoever planned all that for this particular movie was a little ahead of their time, from what I could see. As far as all the camera work goes and stuff. But
now I gotta ask, Bonsart, this movie, I had never heard of it before, and it was like one that you brought up. So I assume you've seen it at least once or more. Is it like a favorite of yours, or?
Well, I mean, I gave a whole bunch of movies from like the 50s and the 20s. I mean, it's not my favorite of those. I think M is probably my favorite. And Metropolis, of course, is also amazing. Both are by Fritz Lang. But whenever I watch those old movies, I always am kind of like amazed how modern they feel. But then you realize, oh wait, these movies actually invented that particular type of movie making. So yeah, we haven't really improved that much upon them since that period.
It's true.
But like what I like about the Quatermass Experiment is like how simple it is. And yeah, I'm myself I'm also a high concept writer, so I really appreciate like how it is about how much attention like the common guy gets. Especially in the first part of the film, there's a lot of like cop stalking and trying to figure out like why is there a rocket in the middle of our town. So I really appreciate that about it, and like it's clearly a very low budget film, but once they have an opportunity to put the money on the screen, they do, with the whole rocket scene and the interior of the rocket ship. That looks like amazing. While the rest is all, a lot of what you see in the 1950s with like people talking in rooms.
Well, it creates a better contrast. Don't you hate like modern movies where they show like a spaceship and it's like, wow, it looks like modern art interior decorated this whole thing.
Like when I was watching Quartermass again, I was really like, gee, imagine if this was a modern film. Not only would it be 3 hours long, like people would be screaming and there would be loud music in every scene, and and here it's like they are isolating the rocket, and everyone's like, well, there's a rocket, now what do we do?
We pull little Kent out of there, and then we find a nice old couple to adopt him. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Goku. I'll accept Kent.
Kal-El, yeah, of course you better accept him. He's the model of the whole thing.
Just know it's settling, though.
But
just know it's settling.
I need to read original Dragon Ball. I still haven't read original Dragon
it's all
Ball.
good.
It's really good.
Both equally good. I love
Goku, and
Super.
photography in this film is also great.
Yeah,
definitely how they use light and shadows, and it's definitely.
You mentioned Fritz Lang, so this is right in line with I think a couple weeks ago we just watched It's a Wonderful Life, and we had a whole noir theme. So this is kind of right in line with all that, and it's kind of interesting because on the noir special that we made, Fritz Lang got brought up a lot. I don't know if Kahuna remembers, but like he was mentioned as a director. He is one of these forerunners of.
Yeah, he's one of those names lost to most modern people, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And also just like the movie cover, movie cover or poster, all the art that I saw for it was a lot of fun as well. I love that old style. It's like this could have been an adventure book from back in the day, or like a sci-fi book, and I always enjoy that kind of thing. I appreciate the old art they used to put on even VHS tapes back in the day.
Yeah, same.
I mean, my cover of my first book is also like inspired by movie posters from that era, that expressionist thing. But
yeah.
Amazing.
And I appreciate about your books and comic that I have as well. I like the look. I like the look on the front of them. Very mystery. It also reminds me of Arthur Conan Doyle a little bit, like some like that one specifically did. And
covers of the Night Watch also have that kind of thing going on. See mirrored now, but
it makes me feel things. I'm gonna let you know.
This is also the font. The prototype also has the font used by Metropolis.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's actually the Metropolis font.
Nice,
sweet, dude. No, I love a good font. I don't know how people make fonts. I just use whatever I do, or I yell at AC and Justin to do something for me. Guys, I need a font, quick.
Well, then you'll probably love the interior of the Night Watch books as well. I shared one with Pritchard, but
you put a lot of love into all your stuff. And talking to you in the past, you've shown me some of your art in the past as well before it came out. I'm like, it's so good, dude. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, but anyway, the Quatermass experiment. Evalie, how about you give us the rundown here, and then we'll get more into it? Because
sure
I'm trying to figure out if this is a pulp or a noir. I'm trying to figure out the difference in like what's going on.
This is a pulp.
This is a pulp.
Yeah, I figured. I was leaning more that way too, because the main guys. I mean, well, we can get into it.
Anyways, it has a monster. It's a pulp.
Yeah, fair.
This is the Quatermass experiment, not Quartermass, Quatermass, but it's spelled like quarter without the R.
Quatermass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Quatermass, and then experiment doesn't have an E at the beginning. It's like a giant experiment, and
like
the tagline for
thing.
The tagline for this, I'm going to put it in the private here chat, and I want Kahuna, you can go ahead and read it in your best Kahuna reading of a tagline for a movie of this nature voice, okay? Because it's got a pretty solid tagline.
In the private chat,
if I can spell this word right. Yeah, I'm going to pop it right. It's there right now.
Beware the creeping unknown. Oh wait,
So I
no,
thought that was
wait,
pretty
this is 1950s. Beware the creeping unknown.
Yes.
Ah.
Yes, that's
yeah.
that's good stuff though.
So
Good stuff.
this
Good
is from
shit,
a
good shit. Oh wait, well, are we still live? Oh shit.
1956. So this is a throwback. I watch I Love Lucy pretty regularly, so I'm not completely unaverse, whatever the
He's not
phrase is for
straight,
this
is what he's saying.
this time period. But I haven't seen tons and tons of movies from the 50s. The summary here, and the summary that I pulled straight from IMDb basically gives you the whole movie. So if you didn't catch it, this tells you almost all of it. It is a fairly simple story, but it says, in the English countryside, a rocket crashes on a farm. It just plopped right in the backyard. It's a guy and a girl, and they're like making out and running and giggling. And boy, are they giggling and laughing. And they sure are laughing and frolicking in the night, and they land in the hay.
wonderful 1950s sound mixing.
Yep.
Yes, and then the rocket crashes on the farm, and Professor Bernard Quatermass and Scotland Yard Inspector Lomax arrive in the spot. The rocket was launched by Professor Quatermass himself with the astronauts Victor Caroon, Jean, and I believe the last name here is Reichbeheim. However, only Caroon is found, and he's very sick in the cabin. Something's terribly wrong with the astronaut Caroon, the only survivor. He's transported to a private clinic to stay under observation, despite the protests of his wife. Now, she actually bribes a nurse to bring Caroon to her, and then she finds that he's transforming into a monster. Caroon escapes from her, starts killing people and animals during his metamorphosis, and all the while, Scotland Yard is hunting him down, and Dr. Quatermass, being involved in all this, he discovers that this might actually be the process of an alien invasion. This movie is starring Richard H. Landau, Val Gass, Nigel Neal. And it says it was a TV series. So I don't know if these actually went to theaters back in the day, but it was a TV series. It was three separate movies, part of a trilogy.
I think it was originally a broadcast originally.
Is that different than a TV series? Or
like a War of the Worlds style radio
mini-series, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so there was a trilogy. It was the Quatermass Experiment. The second one got Quatermass 2. And they would go from the Quatermass Experiment, the X, to just 2. And the third one was Quatermass and the Pit. And the budget on this thing, a meager £45,000, which I have no idea what that converts to in money that we understand. So if they could put that in feet for me, that would be a little bit easier to
I believe that's the equivalent of about 8 watermelons and two full tanks of gas.
So I think it's a pretty small budget in any case. But anyways, that is the rundown.
I have to just really quick before we move on to the next chat. You're sick. You're sick.
It's my fault, AC.
The poll I have up. The poll I have up this week is: if you're a mad scientist, you create a pet kaiju, giant laser, mind control, or Nina Tucker. And almost like I can't even say by a landslide because it's more than a landslide. Nina Tucker, 80% now. It just jumped up to 80%.
I'm helping.
Yes, it's I think it is the most monstrous. If you're a mad scientist, but we'll see where it gets by the end of the show here. Anyway,
Brother Ed.
yeah.
Messed up.
Iron Seas.
For me, when you're talking about like the cinematography, I feel like you have to be good at it with some of these old ones. Not that everybody is, but because the camera can't do all the cool tricks, that you don't have drone shots and as many fancy tracks and roller coasters for the camera to go doing all these different things, especially with a small budget. So I think you have to be a little bit more considerate and deliberate with your shots as to not, because it's going to be boring if you're not framing things the right way, because you can't rely on camera movements and even tons of edits. There's a lot of scenes that it's just like one scene, the camera, does its thing, and you got to get it right. So I think setting up the shots and all that, considering light, like you were talking about before, helped kept this one moving along at a decent click. For me, it dragged kind of later on, but early on, I thought it was
it kind of stuck to meander by the end.
Yeah, we can talk.
There are a lot of stories like that where they kind of like they start off good and they're like, "How long do we have to make this again?" Oh, fill out another 15 minutes.
Yeah.
What I'll say is like when I watched the earlier part of this film and then I was like, this seems familiar. I looked up a bunch of my old movies that I used to watch. I'm like, there's like 5 or 6 movies that steal this plot like directly, almost. It's like we sent out a satellite or a rocket into space and then it crashed back down and something came with it.
Yeah, it's a cool premise, and I like the fact that the main character not only just his character because he's hilarious. He's like straight 1950. All I wanted was him to have a dart in his like every time he was on screen, and then it would have been like perfection. But his character, the fact that he was the one that was involved in launching the rocket, there's that personal investment. So he's trying to figure out what happened because, you know, he's curious, he's trying to do the right thing, but he's also a scientist. So the whole time, his kind of mental approach to things, he's just an interesting character. And the way he acts in some of these scenes, it's I would not have acted the way he did, but it's enjoyable to watch.
Oh yeah.
You mean he's an asshole, but he's fun to have on screen?
A little bit. There's some scenes later towards the end of the movie. I'm just like, what? Why? What? Huh? But
Brian, did you get drunk on your boat again? How can you forget? It's Tuesday, damn it.
He just got out of the shower. It's fine.
That's true. That's true. I'll never forget. Yeah, sorry, that just brought back an uncomfortable memory. Moving on.
Yeah.
You ever get to your home and you go to get in the shower and you think your wife's in the shower and it's not your wife? You ever have that happen?
It's your home invader who decided to shower after robbing you for some reason.
He's like,
he left you a trail of Reese's Pieces, like
crazier things have happened. So.
Bonzart's
like, that's just American. That just sounds like your typical American thing.
Yeah.
That does remind me of do we have time for a little aside with that? My buddy, he was living in townhouses, and it was the middle of the night. They heard a crash downstairs. You know, he got up and put his pants on. He goes down, and there's somebody in the bathroom. The water's running, the shower's running. So he grabs a baseball bat. He's freaked out. He's like, "What the heck is happening?" It turns out it was their neighbor. It was you know, fresh out of college, maybe 20-something-year-old girl, and she had friends that were in town, and they went out and partied way too hard. Came back, she walked into the wrong house, so he like opens the door, and there's this 20-something drunk out of her mind girl, you know, butt naked having a shower, and he's like, "What are you doing in my house? What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh my god!" Like,
is it my birthday? Wait, no, it's not.
I was like, as far as home invaders go, that would be about you know,
a half-naked female college student. Yeah, that's
like you still have your Second Amendment sidekick, but like. But like at least it's not.
She had two guns pointing at you. She was clearly.
Your life is in danger the whole time. Technically, she has more weapons than you. So I mean,
all right. Who can tie this back into Quatermass and make it seem like it fits and weaves in perfectly?
Were there any deleted topless women scenes in this movie? Maybe that's how we tie this back.
No showers either. Actually,
in the 50s, I'm trying to think of something.
I got it. She was possessed by the booze, much like the character in this was possessed by something as well. See,
and he was possessed by the boobs. It all lines up.
I can't believe you just figured out the mystery.
That does not sound like clapping to me.
I know. People say it sounds like rain.
That makes it perfect, actually.
We got rain clapping here on the Iron Seas. It's great.
One question I have is whenever they first approach the rocket, it crashes, and they have all the emergency vehicles come out. The townspeople come because there's like, what's this commotion? They put out a general announcement saying that.
Also, does no one work during the day? Why is everyone just able to be out there?
Oh, it was nighttime at the beginning.
Yeah,
it was like the middle of the night.
Oh, that's why. Yeah.
But the cops, they keep saying we can't put water on the rocket, and I didn't understand why, because they end up just putting water on the rocket anyways. They said it was too hot, but what was the concern there? What's this? If
there's something trapped, it could cause an explosion. If you rapidly
it could, yeah.
That's good science.
Shell, really?
That's good writing. Yep. That's what that is.
I thought it would just like I was like, everything is steam burn the guys if the water hits and the steam comes off and they walk through it. I don't know, but
they can't use it for warmth if they put it out too quickly, Justin.
Yeah, they talk about how the machine needs to cool down because it's like incredibly hot. That was essentially it.
So it crashes, and then you got that guy listening, and he hears the tapping sound from inside the ship, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then they want to go and get him out, but they're not sure what's going on. There's a lot of scenes that they build pretty good tension. One thing that was very weird to this movie, for me, about this film is that there are a lot of scenes where I was like, okay, the tension's there, but there's no music. And I'm like, why don't they like put
very
some music
silent
in
film? Yeah.
Yeah, because it is in some spots where they have like the creeping violins or whatever to make it a little bit more tense, but there were some scenes where it was noticeably absent, and I still don't know if I like that or not. It seemed intentional because there were other scenes where they had the music, so it's clear that they were like, no, let's. I'm like, is it supposed to make you feel more attached or something? I was kind of
Sound design is valuable because if someone who's really good at sound design knows when to make it quiet, let the visuals or the tension build. There's a lot of things you can do there.
So the survivor, they eventually get him out, and he's telling people to help him. I was like, that's never a good sign. And then they start examining the other people, and they're basically just gone. Like their suits are empty, and they don't know. It doesn't make any sense. So they can't figure it out. The guy they pulled out, Victor, he can't talk. He's in bad shape, and they just start trying to figure out what's going on. Talking to him, they're looking for the film. I like with the film, they find the camera, and the guy's like, "Oh, camera's broken." And then it comes back later on, and they're like, "Oh, the film's developing." He's like, "I thought you said the camera was broken." He's like, "Oh, no, the camera was broke. The film's fine."
It was fine.
And
yeah.
I don't know if that was supposed to be just like one of those things that whenever there are events like this going on, just miscommunication type deal, or what?
100%. Yeah.
So they're examining the survivor, and the wife gets involved. And as soon as she shows up, you can tell she's glad her husband's back, but you know that's not going to end well. And they develop the film. Scientists are checking out Victor, and he's all shaking. And they then check inside the ship, and they find something that they don't know what it is, some kind of material, and they're not sure if it's organic.
They don't even
exactly.
show it when they find it. They find it out of frame. They don't find it off screen. They find it out of frame, and then it's like, oh, they probably did not have budget for whatever it was that they found. And
yeah, there's a couple scenes like that which were interesting because then there is a scene later on where they have the reveal of the mouse container where there's one of these aliens inside of it as well, and they show you that. And I couldn't really tell what I was looking at because the black and white, and it was a quick scene. I'm like, something's pulsing. I can't tell what exactly, but it was noticeable that sometimes I'm waiting for them to be like, well, there it is. And I was waiting for the camera to pan down. They never did. And other times they do show you it. So I don't know. There's some decisions with the way this movie's edited together that I don't know if it was just standard format at the time or if that was not the case. But again, I'm still not sure if I like some of the decisions with the music and then also with showing you versus not showing you at times. I just thought it was kind of a little bit.
Finding the right balance of that is tough, especially in a movie that's more pulp based like this, obviously.
Well, I think that the lack of music helps it because you're really focused on what's happening on screen.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, as I was watching this film again, I was really like, man, if this was a modern film, like they would have like music and everything, like you know, all the characters would be like super active and like screaming.
Would be the score, and
everything needed to be like made super dramatic, and you know.
I do like in older films when something weird happens. Sometimes they're just like, huh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one thing that you gotta think about with a lot of these films, also with The Naked City, for instance. I don't know if you've seen that film,
No,
but like most of those actors, they've been in World War II. Like the people watching the Quatermass experience, like experienced the bombing of London.
That ties in. That ties into something that me and Kahuna, we discussed Animal Farm this week, and Billy Judd in the chat actually brought up Animal Farm already. We were planning on mentioning that later, but that's something people take for granted. Is like this is one of the reasons. Like, I mean, I don't want to like get glaze war or anything, but like Tolkien,
Glaze War. That's a
Glazing War. That's a novel name, right? Okay, so anyway, Tolkien
it's about
experienced war. You know, Orwell experienced war. Like these great writers of our culture and our history, like went through hell, right? So yeah, pressure creates diamonds. That's all. So interesting that you bring that
up. A tail gunner, Gene Roddenberry.
Oh right. Oh, the list keeps going, man. I just brought up a few. Like yeah, there's so many.
Like Bronson was a legend, dude. He was super solid.
So these actors, it's probably like wow, the range of their acting skills. Maybe it was like actually pretty like dynamic compared to the average guy that would just be like,
Yeah, like a lot of people who watch Quartermass Experience probably actually seen like a V2 rocket sticking out of the ground at some point. Yeah,
it's crazy.
But I mean, but like there's also like the Naked City is well, it's not really noir, but it's often associated with the genre, which is about like a kind of like a police procedural film from the 50s. And then there's like this very young inspector, you know, a very like milk toast guy. It's like, well, he came back from Europe fighting the Nazis. And it's like,
he's perfect for this.
Yeah, but like he looks like, you know, he uses words like swell and like clearly a very young guy. It's like, oh man, yeah, he just came back from Europe killing Nazis. It's like, okay.
He just called me Bucko. You know what that means?
Yeah.
He like when he's older, he's going to give people a good attaboy. That's what he's going to hand out.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I had one boss a long time ago. He used to work for the company I work for now, and if he gave you an attaboy, it was a good day. You knew things were going well. It's like, damn, we did do a good job, didn't we?
Well, with some of the dialogue in here and that with that kind of in mind, I like the doctors examining the one survivor and they're like, geez, his pulse and blood pressure, they're so low. He should be dead. And then somebody's like, how's he doing? He's like, oh, he's coming along fine.
No.
It's just like, what? No, you just said he should be dead. Like, oh, he's coming along fine. Like, oh, yeah, give him a day or two. He'll be all right. Go walk it off.
Rub some dirt on it. He'll be good.
Seriously. And then his fingerprints aren't even human anymore. It's just like these weird smudges. And they're like, it's probably nothing. It's just like, jeez.
It's interesting what they drew on back then to convey that sense of unease and otherworldliness. Like, and at the gradual pace that they did, like, I don't know. It had to have been tricky back then with like your limited technology. You can't just like CGI it.
Right.
When CGI came, it was such a big deal, and I don't realize that as like a.
It wasn't that first. You ever see some of that early CGI?
Oh yeah.
Or like modern MCU. Yeah.
Oh god, especially animals and movies like that.
Or like people love this movie, but Dragonheart with the talking dragon. That was That was a choice.
Sean Connery as the dragon, I think.
Yeah, I'm a dragon for sure.
I love how he was in a Highlander and he did not like change his accent at all.
No,
it's like he's an Egyptian who's called the Spaniard with a Scottish accent, who uses a Japanese sword in a mediocre movie.
It's kind of like the Swede from what is it, Hell on Wheels? But I'm from Norway.
Kahuna's not gonna let Evalee live that down. He's gonna bring up the Spaniard every time.
That movie has some. I like the idea of the movie more than the actual movie. It has on paper, it has everything going for it, and that. sorry, we're talking about
yeah. This isn't a Highlander stream.
Doing the soundtrack, and they did after
great villain. The villain, come on,
the villain is wonderful. He's perfect.
I want to call him the Krogan. I know it's not how to change the
close
movie.
enough.
Wait,
Korgan.
Yeah, the Kurgan. There we go. Korgan. Well, speaking about personal feelings and no room for personal feelings in Highlander for Kahuna. There's a quote in this movie from Quatermass, and he's they're talking about that guy, and like bad things are clearly happening. Something's way off, and Quatermass just tells the one guy, "Well, there's no room for personal feelings in science." It's like this dude's just like ice cold. He just He seems like he cares, but
personal feelings in science. Looks at every modern scientist.
Seriously, so I'm like, I don't know if I'm supposed to root for this guy. He seems like he's trying to do the right thing, but I'm like, is he just being a scientist this whole time? I don't know. So that dude, they're developing the film and all that, and they end up watching the film, and this is probably one of the most memorable scenes from the movie. One of the like handful, because there's several actually, but this is one of the ones that. When it was happening, it stood out to me just because of the special effects, and it's where you're finally learning on some level what happened to these three astronauts whenever they went up 15,000 miles into space. You guys have seen it.
The real question the internet wants to know is, were they vaccinated? That's all they wanted.
Is the moon real?
This scene was interesting because obviously you can't do like a zero gravity shot, I don't think, at this point in time, but they try to have the guy kind of walk up the wall, sort of.
I thought that was actually pretty impressive. I wonder how they did that.
It's a hard effect to do, period, let alone back in the 50s, dude.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how they did it unless they were just like superimposing, like filmed it twice and then just cut one and put it over and like rotated the camera to make it look like he's there. I'm not sure exactly how they did it, but you watch and it's like, okay, they can't do 0G, so how are they going to do this? And that's what they came up with. I'm like, all right, that's respectable, I guess.
Well, even the movie 300. Okay, so as of that year that the movie 300 came out, around that time, they like the Oracle scene. They still needed to put her like in a pool and like film her underwater to get the 0G effect. They were still doing that when the movie 300 came out. So yeah, that puts it in perspective a little bit. Like you said earlier, there's a lot that hasn't changed over time, really.
They couldn't afford a pool for this movie. Like, it's out of budget.
Yeah,
It's out of budget.
probably.
Sorry, fellas.
You need special clear water too that doesn't like refract light at all. It like, I don't know, it'd be really crazy.
Well, even like I was watching the old Popeye movie like with my boys recently, and I'm like, that's a real background, but how did they do that? I'm like trying to figure out how they did some of these shots. I'm like, they clearly animated over it, but like my kids, they love the original Pop, not like the OG Popeye like animations. And so I'm like, every now and again, I'm like, I introduce another older kind of film or show to them just to see if they like it, because every now and again they surprise me.
Now the question is Quatermass also strong to the finish because it ate spinach? We gotta keep going to find out. I don't know. So the scene where the ship is hit by this like radiation wave or something, the way that they did it, it's like this rays of light kind of. It's another cool effect. I assume they did something to the film and not actually live on set. But every time this kind of wave,
no, they
passes
sent out a
through the
nuclear
ship.
blast on set. That's how they achieved that one.
I mean, it was a different time. They're like, just try. They actually just use like a real radiation machine just to get the shot. Like, it's fine. They'll walk it off.
Well, you hear about like what they used to do on older films. And you're like, that's not that far out actually, based on what they used to do. Like in this movie Red Fury, it's another horse girl kind of movie. And at one point in the movie, the horse dies. And so this little girl wasn't crying convincingly. So they told her mother died in real life.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And when she's crying, they're like, get the shot.
Get the shot.
Oh my gosh.
Get it now.
Horrible.
Fritz Lang did with not necessarily that specifically, but he also brought his actors to tears.
Yeah. It was a thing back then.
And
it was
I don't know if you've seen the movie A City in Search of a Murderer by Fritz Lang, but there's like a scene, legendary scene with the actor, and that actor at that time, like, he had to do that scene like over 30 times. So his hysteria is actually genuine.
Oh,
wow!
He actually got physically hurt during the production of that one scene.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
And like stuff like that. Even accidents happen and sometimes make it in films. Like everyone talks about, like when in Lord of the Rings, when Viggo kicks the helmet and breaks his toe.
Yeah. Or Mad Max 2 as well.
That I cannot believe he survived. That was insane.
Yeah.
What an insane accident.
And he came back.
Yeah, before the film was over.
Yeah, he came back.
I know. I'm thinking of the infamous from Wizard of Oz in the background, and like.
What about the lost Munchkins, the legendary ones that were hanging on set? Right, those ones.
That's what I was getting. I didn't know how to word it for.
That turns out to be a myth, but
I figured. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of these do turn out to be myths, but they take like one kernel of truth and then exaggerate it into like, all the Munchkins like did this on set. It's like, maybe it was like one guy that wasn't really related to things.
One guy on set said it would be funny if the film had that, and but
it was definitely not as PC back then. Sorry. No.
Yeah. I was just gonna say this scene's cool because like the waves hit and you're trying to figure out what's going on, and then like the one guy is immediately sick and he falls over, and then another wave comes and the other dude's messed up, and it's like, what the heck is this wave? And you get the reveal of what exactly was going on with it later on. But I thought that shot was pretty visually interesting for an older film.
Yeah, definitely. It was an interesting scene, and also how they explain off scene why there's like cuts between the events where they say, well, wait, why is the screen off? Well, that's to save film. So that's why we see like only specific kind of like progression of time.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting. Like, how do we explain that this is not like 5 hours of film? Oh, yeah, no,
Right.
it's safe film, which I mean, completely makes sense. So.
Anytime in a movie too, especially you get this kind of reveal early on. Obviously, we want to see where it's going to end, but in terms of what caused this, they don't keep that out of. You don't have to wait forever to get to this scene where they show you something that's happening. So you're like, whoa. But it doesn't give you the full context. You saw something happen, but you still don't understand it. And I appreciate that. It reminds me of those moments like in Silent Hill 2 made you wait pretty much to the end, where you get a tape and the tape is going to have the event that you're kind of trying to figure out the entire game, what exactly happened to this guy's wife, but you have to wait to the end. And it does a good job building tension, but I like that we got it earlier in this film because I'm like, okay, this is weird. Like, what's going on? Anyways, the guy's wife, as we mentioned during the rundown, she breaks him out. And she hires a guy to go in there and help because she obviously can't walk in as the wife and be like, okay, we're getting out of here. So she hires a dude to go and break him out. And that guy's just like, yeah, I'm helping. Come on, let's get you up, buddy. And the guy like attacks a cactus. There's a cactus on the shelf and he loses his mind and just like attacks it and knocks it over. And the guy ends up taking Victor, the dude that was affected by whatever happened in the spaceship. They both go into the elevator, and I guess he took a piece of the broken cactus. Is that what happened? Because he had something in his jacket.
Yeah, he kind of like congealed with it.
Oh, okay. He ends up killing the guy that was coming to break him out.
It becomes part plant.
Okay, yeah, his hand turns into like this giant thing, like he's absorbing it and changing it because he came into contact with the cactus, I guess. Yeah. So we get the first kill.
And for those at home, that is what happens when you touch cactus in real life.
The science has not changed. This movie is very accurate. But whenever they kill people in this movie, it's straight 1950s, which a lot of movies tend to be overly excessive with the gore. And this one, it was like the complete opposite direction where the camera just like goes, the guy's like, oh, and then it cuts or whatever. So he takes that guy out permanently, and then he walks off the elevator and he eventually meets up with his wife, and she has no idea that her husband has changed a lot more than she's realized, and then the nurses end up finding the body and all that. So the men are discussing the wife being in shock because back up, whenever he's with the wife, he freaks out and gets out of the car and walks off and basically leaves the wife in the car, and so she's like, this is not my husband anymore. And the guys are talking to her. They find the cactus in the room, and it's shortly around there they reveal their theory that they think maybe this event that they saw in the film was an alien invasion, and it's very similar to the idea of how the zombies spread in the Last of Us series, where it's these spores, and the spores can travel through vents and everything else. So it's
things, and
so it's
kind of a similar idea
spores.
to the movie or the anime and manga Parasite. Or the anime version of it, Parasite the Maxim. It's a very similar.
Right, Parasite, yeah.
Except no one's arm turns into male genitals at any point in this movie.
Well, it's it's kind of terrifying because unless you're in something that's completely, absolutely airtight, spores, I mean, they're so small they can just get in anywhere. And obviously, because we breathe, the idea of you ingesting something like that is pretty unsettling. And the fact that it's in space, and they're like, what if this is how aliens invade places? They just
what's interesting about it, and like one of the reasons why the Quartermass stuck with me, because it's so very similar to my own stuff that I'm writing. And like, wow, if I wanted to make like a series, low budget thing about my own stuff, it would be something like this. And like the alien is originally energy based, and then it comes in contact with humans.
Sorry, Alice Cooper looks like a scared granny in that picture, and it made me laugh. Anyway, it's a once I saw, I'm like, is that Alice Cooper? Why does he look weird? Anyway, sorry, continue. Sorry, I was just right.
But yeah, that's kind of like the idea that it's an energy being that comes in contact with humans, kind of takes possession of the human, and then basically starts to use it as matter to procreate.
Yes.
Combining with other plant matter, with the whole deal with the cactus, and goes from there.
Yeah, it's like a different take on I mean, anytime aliens use humans as a host to create more aliens, that's always terrifying. And obviously, the movie Alien itself,
It's
they
kind of
went
like
the
the
opposite
creatures
direction.
from Dead Space in a way.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's what I got the
so
vibe. Yeah.
there's different approaches you can go with that, and obviously the face huggers from Alien are terrifying in their own way because it's very physical and very visceral and violent. And this is the opposite, but this is almost more terrifying because, again, you can't see it, you can't shoot it, you can't really stop it. If you breathe and you happen to be in the vicinity, it's not like you can. I guess in this movie you could kind of see it, but it happens so fast. It just. What can you do? Nothing.
It would have been interesting to see how they would have ended the film if they had more budget. But we'll get to that, I suppose.
Yeah. So Victor, after he gets out of the car and he goes out, I guess they're saying he needs to eat, and they keep finding. I forgot to mention as we're going through, even the guy he killed in the elevator, he's like draining them somehow. They find them and basically they're all like just skeletons, and all their fluids and stuff are drained
He's giving
out.
them
So
the
every
mummy
time,
treatment.
That's an AC move with the writing. Just saying.
yeah, every time they find
I
the
thought
body,
you were
this
talking
guy's
about the sucking
draining
dry.
them.
Like, what do you mean?
So
Get that life force out of you. Get that
he needs
soul
to
out of you.
feed somehow, and he ends up going into this chemistry shop of some sort, and he ends up the guy, the door's locked. He's like, "Oh wait, we're closed for the night," and then the nice shop owner accidentally lets in this alien hybrid monster, and he ends up paying for it. We get another death scene with and
No
he
good
gets
deed
taken
goes
out.
unpunished. Huh?
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
So the cops, they're always a step behind. So they get there and it's already taken place. They end up finding the body, and they're looking at the chemicals that were taken, and they're speculating that they're like, if he was trying to get these specific things, that would stop the heart of any normal human. So they were thinking this guy was trying to take out whatever was possessing him by taking himself out. And he was, I guess, maybe still have a battle going on in there. And you get another little glimpse of that as well a little bit later on whenever he's Victor, he's on the lam and he's hiding. And then there's that little girl that stumbles upon Victor's location, and she's just playing with her doll. And that little girl was just she hears a Victor hiding in the boat behind her, and she tells her little doll it's just rats. And then this giant grown man who's got like skin that's all jacked up, and he's hiding his hand, and she's like, "Oh hey mister, do you want tea? Please have tea. I'll give you the jelly donut that has the chocolate."
I'm just a 50s child from a small town. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
Never mind stranger danger. It's just like super high trust community there in farmland, England, I
It
guess.
exists
But
back then, Evalie. There was no stranger. It was commie danger. That's the only danger. Okay. Red
so
danger.
in that sequence, he punches the doll and punches its head off, but I mean he could have just as
Edwin
easily
got
eaten
very
that girl
upset
too.
about that.
Yeah. So it shows that maybe he was still in there somewhere. I think that's how I interpreted that. Is that how you guys kind of felt about it too?
Say that again. What?
I said that Victor is still in there. He wasn't totally just the alien. He was still kind of fighting back.
Oh no,
against it,
definitely.
right?
I mean, like I was rewatching it with somebody else who didn't even know what the film was about, and he was like, "Oh no, he's not gonna get the girl, is he?" Like the tension was constantly there.
Yeah.
The same with when he was alone with his wife in the room. Same.
Yes.
Like they really have that tension really going there. And again, that's really what I love about like the simplicity of it. And I think if there was like noise, like music in those scenes, then I don't think you would have like that same uncomfortable vibe, because that's what that scene was to me, like uncomfortable. Like, what is he gonna do with that girl?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
There was a scene like that in Con Air also. Steve Buscemi's character, he's a psychopath, like you know what I'm talking about, like Silence of the Lambs guy, Hannibal the Cannibal kind of guy, and then they've hyped him up this entire film, and then suddenly he just wanders into this like random white trash backyard with this little girl, and they start having a fake tea party, and you're like,
oh yeah,
what is gonna happen here, dude? This is so uncomfortable. And then he was fine. And then they were both fine. And it was fine.
Right. Yay. So the cops they're always a step behind. They keep getting, people saying that they saw this guy, but they're always playing catch up. And it's the 50s. Making
I
the
actually
phone
want
calls hard
to
enough.
comment on one particular scene because I actually have that in my first novel. Is the woman coming to the police station
Yes,
and,
coming
and
up,
talking about her experience? And I actually have a scene in my first novel is actually inspired by that very scene where this mentally questionable drifter explains her experiences.
Yeah, that was great, and that's following basically we after the cops, and the little girl, they hear that story. We cut to the zoo, and we have the zookeeper closing up shop. And this is part of the movie. These scenes I thought felt a little bit long. The whole zoo sequence, I felt like it just kind of kept going.
Yeah,
But
that
obviously,
one took too long, definitely.
yeah, Victor is he's in the zoo, and he's in the bushes, and the zookeeper bails out, and Victor's in there, and he, in a matter of a single night, at least from our perspective, he goes through and he drains all of these different animals in the zoo, which I was like, oh wow, I thought he was gonna get like a couple of them, but he went through the whole zoo and got all the animals in a single night, which is nuts.
He was hungry,
So,
man.
I
Thirsty.
guess, yeah.
There are some animals are still alive in the morning.
Oh, or
acting
there,
as
I
nothing happened. But
I just know the cops show up the next day and there's like, zoo animal carcasses on the ground, and inside the cage the lion's been drained and all this. And so they're doing some tests on the mice at this point because one of the materials they retrieved from the shuttle, they're messing around with it, so they put on some mice to see how it'll interact with them. And shortly after that the character you're referring to shows up, and it's funny because it's this. To me, she looked drunk, and I think she was trying to get some money out of the detective to go and buy some more booze. But she says she saw something big, and I believe she says she saw it crawling up the wall, if I'm not mistaken. It was like up in the air, and yeah, because she's kind of a drunk and she seems unhinged. You're like, well, that doesn't make sense, but maybe it does, because there are some weird things happening. So that scene was fun, and that character was just way different than anybody else in the film.
yeah.
And so the Inspector Lomax gets called. Basically, the mice in the cage, something happened. It breaks out. It's taking care of the other mice, and that's where we get a shot of what these things kind of look like. And it's just like this. I mean, how would you even describe it? It's like this, pulsating, gloopy, messy, sluggish starfish kind of looking thing.
Yeah, a little starfishy, a little Lovecraftian. Like those are tentacles.
Yes.
So it's like what he said, the creatures from Dead Space, but more, instead of like bony, rigid, sharp, hard creatures with spines and stuff, it's more like Lovecraft.
A little more Lovecraft, a little more hentai, a little more that.
Little more hentai, yeah, a little more hentai.
So
American
that brings
hentai.
us.
Am I ruining it for you, Justin?
American hentai.
That brings us basically to the climax of the film. And, the government is basically telling people to stay calm, nothing to worry about. But secretly, they're like, okay, that experiment on that mouse, that was like no time flat. And that mouse changed a lot. And we're confirming that this is spreading. And whatever thing is moving around, we think it's trying to go somewhere to spread its spores. And if that happens once, if the original monster can do that, we're done. Like, we won't be able to stop it after that point. But they know that there's got to be other ones out there, so they send all the military out, and they're trying to find these other starfish creatures in case they didn't get it, or if there were ones out there and all that sort of stuff. And the whole movie comes to a head at this. It's a cathedral, right? And that cathedral, and the BBC's doing like a special report, just like on the history of the paintings in there and things of that nature. But the monster, of course, has gone to the cathedral, and it's scaled this scaffolding, and it's up there, and I guess it's going to spread its spores from up at the top. And that's when we get the reveal of the creature, as was shown in the trailer. You get to see all the practical effects of the 1950s on a 45,000-pound budget could muster. So that scene was another one. I think I would have loved to have seen people's faces, the first time they see that, because I imagine it probably would have been pretty impressive back then.
Probably. Tim said his dad saw it in the drive-in, like when it first came out, which is.
Oh man, yeah,
so
I'd love to know what his
that's
thoughts
such a
were about it.
nostalgic thing. Like drive-ins don't exist anymore, except for like one, And I remember I watched Finding Nemo, Hulk, the original Freaky Friday, and the whole Pirates of the Caribbean, a whole slew of great movies I watched in the drive-in theater. I miss that, man. That was so much fun.
Yeah. So they have this monster in there, and they're trying to figure out how to dispose of it because they're thinking like, oh, let's burn it, and they're like, you can't burn it; it'll put the spores in the air. And they come to the conclusion that they need to electrocute it. And so they pull like all of the electricity from all of London, like Big Ben turns off, and they're putting it all into this scaffolding, which I'm like, that thing would have fried. It would have just like blown up the entire chapel or whatever. But that scene was pretty funny. And they fry it, and I guess frying it for some reason didn't spread the spores, even though
it's all
burning
very
would've.
casual. Like they're not running; they're just walking.
Yes. Justin, you just have to trust the science, dude.
Oh
Just
my
trust
gosh,
the
yeah.
science.
The fact that when all this is happening, he's like, we can't spare a single second. And then he just walks at a normal pace to go talk to the other guy. And like you said, if it was a modern movie, it'd be like, there's no time. And they'd be like running and all knocking over things. And he's just like casually, like I said, all I wanted was him to stop and just have a smoke break and then keep going. That would have just made it perfect. And so, yeah, even after they electrocute the thing, a bunch of the guys just walk back in to look and see, like, did we get it? Like maybe I don't know, put on a gas
they don't
mask
wear
or
any
something.
protective gear, and
Yeah.
like
They're not even wearing leather gloves, dude.
They all should have lit up right as soon as they were like. if they
I
got
also
smoke, that would've
noticed at the beginning when the rocket crashed, it's the same thing. Like they open it, this dude comes out and like dies in front of them basically, and then they just kind of go in and start looking around.
If they were going to do anything, they should have used their God-given right for the history of all humanity to grab a stick and poke it with said stick.
Yeah, just
Don't use your hands, you animals. Use a stick,
Animals,
as is
yeah.
your God-given right.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
he
you
was
get this.
he had that like tweezer thing later. Where he was
yeah, like it extends out. It's all long.
Yeah.
at least they didn't pick it up with their bare hands. But
Yes,
it's like
It tastes funny. Try this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, going in
So-
without any protective gears. That I mean, I know it's
Yeah.
the 1950s, but
It's just
At
thinking
least
they're
use
lungs.
the stick of destiny, dude. That's you gotta do that.
I think they
I-
should make a Fallout movie like that, where it feels low budget, but it's not actually low budget, and it feels
that
like
could be cool.
yeah.
Actually, just set it like in the 50s instead of this like futuristic retro look. Actually, just have it take place. That'd be fun.
Yeah, because I think they could save money in some ways by doing that, and then just appealing to aesthetics. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just side thought, but anyway.
So apparently, the end
like
of this. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say with one line. The end of this film, I guess that having a cliffhanger ending was not the norm at this time period because the movie ends with Quatermass saying he's like, "Well, that was terrible. We need to try again," and it ends with another rocket going up. Like this mad son of a, he's gonna go right back at it. Like science doesn't matter. Sorry, Kahuna, what were you gonna say?
yeah, it's quite astounding how much power Quartermass has in that regard. Like apparently, no one can tell him no,
Right.
which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Just listen here, guys. No, I appreciated the different ideas that were tackled, and from the sounds of it, having watched the rest of the film, adequately well. It appeals to a lot of very specific human fears, like it's the pride, the hubris, which in the modern day has turned into the pride of like, oh, our technology has become God, and well, our technology is going to take care of us, kind of thing, and it's the way to the future, and then fear of the unknown because it's something from beyond, and then fear of the like losing what makes us essentially human, which is what happens like in any time like any zombie, vampire, werewolf thing. It's always you're scared of that because like you imagine it's like worse than death. It's because you're still there, but you aren't you anymore. You're no longer human. That's a very inherent fear of all mankind. It's why it's why like agoraphobes are like they hate the idea of something existing in their body that isn't them. It freaks them out.
So overall, guys, let's go around sink or float. I'm gonna say personally, it didn't necessarily appeal to me, but I see there's a lot of aspects to it that I do love, and like I said, I noticed a lot of things like the camera and stuff like that. And given the cultural significance, I can't knock the movie too much, but I will, just for the sake of having like a pragmatic vote out of 5 here, I'm gonna give mine a sink, just to be honest and realistic with the the accuracy of the vote. But I didn't like hate the movie or anything. It just didn't like grab me personally. But I do love the relation to Dead Space and stuff, and like the pulp aspects of it. Like it's good timing because of Noir Week, like all that. I love all that, but I'm gonna give it a sync. We got to sync things sometimes. We got to start doing that. We never do.
On our show, we all think the same. Where you walk the plank.
Yeah.
You know the law.
Yeah.
I would say that it had good effects. I thought overall, it's a little bit cheesy, but it was fun. It wasn't just bad. Like It didn't take me out of it. It was
fun.
Yeah, it was fun. And the premise was cool. I mean, this is just an interesting setup where something goes into space, it comes back, 2 guys are dead. What happened to the other guy? That's an interesting setup. And Quatermass was a fun character to follow. Fun. He was just the way he delivered his lines and his nonchalantness and everything. I really enjoyed this style of alien. Again, it's still a commonly used, a spore that can take over you. It's pretty common. It's for reasons kind of scary. The deaths are funny. Some of the cons I had here, the scenes with the no music, they definitely hit different, but I probably just because the movies I grew up with, I'm used to music helping to shape what's happening, and so its absence, it didn't sit with me the right way. It was kind of slow at times with the zoo scene and things like that, and it was kind of a fairly simple story overall. I would say that whether or not this movie floats or sinks, I think it has a lot to do with your attention span, probably. For mine, I'm a little bit more on the ADD side of things, and so it didn't lose me. It almost lost me. Didn't quite. It almost did. But I think if you enjoy older films and ones that had so much significance in terms of like movie history, I think this would be a float for you. For me, I'm going to give it a light float. Personally, I didn't love it, but because of, I think there's just a little bit enough of things in here that I appreciate that I'm going to give it a light float.
I'm going to give it a sync. It's not a bad film, but I've seen different movies, even different older movies, explore some of the ideas in this film a bit better. And so it's not one I would care to watch more of. Maybe I'll watch it all the way, and maybe I'll change my mind, and that's fair because I didn't get to finish the film. Mine is basically invalid. I'm like an illegal voting right now here in America.
Chat, what do you think? So far, I see one float in the chat. I'll give you guys a few moments here while Bonsart consider put your vote in the live chat, and I'll count you guys as one of the voters. I'm going to try to do that. Bonsart, what do you think?
I guess I'm also kind of on the light float of things. It starts off very strong. I notice very quickly when a movie does not appeal to me, I just have no interest for it, and I just start doing other things. And this is definitely one of those films where once you start watching, you continue watching, especially the early scenes, they have great pacing. It goes from setup to plot to the mystery, and all that build up is very good. It's clearly low budget, but once they put the money on screen, they really go for it, like with the whole movie thing. But I definitely appreciate it more for its details than for the overall plot. Like I said already, it would be interesting to see what the ending of the movie would have been if they had more budget. Because by the end it does start to meander, starting with the animal scene, where they just go from animal to animal, and it's like, okay, guys, come on, hurry up.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Yeah, we got it. There's animals in the zoo. Like, what's happening next?
That's definitely one. But it has to do with the drive. The fact it was for drive-in films, where they intentionally did, because teenagers and the drive-in, so they intentionally made a lot of those scenes extra drawn out, so no one would miss anything if they were doing other things.
I got 2 minutes.
So that's also kind of like plays into that. the guys who make these films knew their audiences.
Mhm.
But I like by the end, yeah, it's yeah. But they're like again the cinematography, the lighting, the photography, like how things were shot. There's definitely a lot of stuff there. Like I said, I've taken like scenes from it literally in my own work. Because a lot of the scenes are memorable. Quatermass is a memorable character, and the actors are great. Especially the guy who plays the victim, so to speak, is very convincing in his role. Like it's not he never overacts, he never overdoes it. So yeah, but the ending, I mean the ending isn't bad, just its execution.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And the acting did stand out, and like I mentioned, the camera work earlier too. But like, yeah, the actors did really good for sure.
Yeah, and the actors were great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's dated, and it's low budget. So yeah, like again, light float, but it's definitely a film. Especially if you want to write pulp or steampunk, I think it's a must watch.
Yeah, it's valuable.
Definitely. And I did not mind rewatching it for this show.
So me and Kahuna gave it 2 definitive sinks. You and Evalie gave it 2 light floats, and then I've only seen floats in the chat. So I think that's three. Let's see. That is 3 beers. 3 beers and Buzz Lightyears out of 5.
Actually,
boy, that escalated quickly.
In just a few hours, you'll be sitting around a campfire with Andy making delicious hot schmoes.
3 out of 5 schmoes.
Actually, what Skunk said is I typically go with what Kahuna says, but he's off base, voting like an illegal. I say float. And then I said, Skunk is a fake news. He may be gay. I think that he's gay. So.
He may be gay. I heard. They say he's gay. I don't think he's gay.
They all said it. I didn't say it.
Yeah.
But just a little self plug here.
It's your section now, brother. It's your section now. So plug
it's
away.
All about you.
I just got a new pledge on the Kickstarter, so we're probably 2 pledges away from the next stretch goal. So if you enjoy the type of Quatermass, again, maybe Night Watch. Even if you just get the books just for having them, the interiors look. This is the prototype, but the interiors look great. Like this is the prototype, so this is a bit more sober than the final thing. But yeah, also all the reading books are on there, and we also have miniatures on there as well.
Yes, one of the only people to do those, by the way. Almost no one does miniatures.
This is a prototype. For those people who enjoy the Casket Girls, we now also have Gévaudan. As well. So
is that named after the beast of Gévaudan?
Yeah.
The one. Nice.
And the train that they use to transport them is called the Jean Castel.
All right.
So
I'm gonna drop Bonsart's link in the chat here. Everybody go check his stuff out.
Drop that link, boy.
Yeah, I now also added a cheaper tier for just the player guide. The player guide is for the people who just want to try it out. It is intended for the players, but you can play the game with it. It just doesn't have all the advanced rules, and it does not have the lore. This is like really the stripped down version of the game, really. But it does have an adventure. It does have characters. It does have art, or should say, will have, because I'm still working on the. How do you say, the core rule book. Once that's completely done in the way we want it, I'm gonna put the content from one into the other, and and the lore book is nearly done, which I'm really proud of. So
what systems does it most closely align with?
I've got it's all explained on the Kickstarter, where we have the dice rolling system explained, but it's loosely based on Savage Worlds. because they have like their stats expressed in dice instead of abstract numbers. And I wanted to have like a system where you look at the sheet, you know exactly what everything does. That's how the skills are basically also done. So if the skill says, for example, engine man, you can like control all big machinery as a pilot, essentially. The skills are in a way made to be like both like taken in the most loosest sense of the word. We also have the project system, which I'm really proud of, especially because I wasn't expecting people to use it as much as this, which allows you to basically plan your entire week. We kind of like made the system that the players work with deadlines, like you've got a week to prepare for this, and the project system kind of like allows you to plan for an entire week. And again, you can put your skills really to use. So if you are an engineer, you can actually engineer, build vehicles, or make blueprints, while a scout actually gets to act like a scout. While one is building a machine, the scout can
actual facilitated role play.
Yes,
a
lot of facilitative perks there. So I also have like skills for administration and that type of thing, like even janitor, which and it's always great to see how players put those to use. Like, well, it so happens that I'm a janitor, so I would know like how these particular systems would work. I've been very surprised how players have been able to use them with such ease. Like we have had people who have no experience with role-playing games, getting into the hang of it like in half an hour. So that's great. We also have the fortune card system that's also explained on the page. And people really enjoy that system. It determines initiative, but it also gives players an extra boon during their round. But the fortune cards that have not been selected, the game master can use to give a boon to his creatures. So
hot and of course mix. What's not to like?
You guys funded in 3 hours. That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, brother.
Yeah, we had a rather low goal, but we managed to get it in 3 hours that way. So the next one is
Zeppelins. Thank you.
Euros, and that's Zeppelins. One or two pledges able to get there. And we've got digital tiers, we've got physical tiers. And you can also play the trailer for more information on the setting. And
do you have any love for BioShock?
I enjoyed the original 2. BioShock Infinite was like the first time I played it was okay. The second time I was playing it, like, wow, this is not very good. But I'm like 2 is my favorite.
The new game coming out that's trying to be like this. Very much
I actually saw the Xbox Revolution.
Game. It looked bad, dude.
Outer Worlds.
I don't like that trailer.
Like Royce pointed this out, that trailer went on for so long.
Yeah, it's far too long.
It's like over 5-6 minutes, maybe.
Yeah,
7 minutes.
It's ridiculous. And I'm like, what am I saying? And I'm still not sure what the game is, other than they really go for gas lamp fantasy-esque stuff.
They all it sounds like you get the time stone from Doctor Strange, and then you're what the hell's going on?
Mixed with Call of Duty and Borderlands. That's what it's trying. Anyway, we'll get to that in the final segment. But tell us more about your stuff, Bonsart.
I suggest you play the trailer. I think that would be
let's pull the trailer up.
Let's play the trailer. It's time.
Greetings and welcome to an alternate 19th century, a time when anomalies called rifts are appearing across the globe. Gateways to other worlds, some of which are feral, but others are home to lost civilizations whose mechanical marvels remain. This caused an influx of technological innovations, but also alien threats who seek to plunge the world into peril. The Association of Ishtar is the first line of defense, observing the invaders and their collaborators from the shadows, like an eternal night watch. Explore other worlds, or dive into an alternate past in which futuristic technologies clashes with the uncanny. Night Watch is a fast-paced light tabletop RPG set in the Association of Ishtar universe by Bonsart Vocal. It's an easy-to-learn skill check system. Its fortune cards allow players to bring combat environments to life. Play as whatever you like, a mech pilot, a racketeer selling trophies and technology to the highest bidder. Protect the world or embrace the change. It is up to you in Night Watch. Coming this May to Kickstarter.
Heck yeah.
Cool.
I like it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting when you're talking about these games too. It seems like maybe there's a little bit of a movement around this kind of vibe and things happening. So I've seen more than a handful of projects, even going more mainstream, like those games that have this kind of steampunk essence to them.
It's coming. It does feel like it's starting to come back a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of like the push with Sword and Sorcery, Pulp. I off screen over here, I was looking at some Pulp stuff, and like, yeah, this is there. It looks like there's a whole bunch of like standard pillars or archetypes of Pulp too, which kind of came out of, this is where like Lovecraft lands, right, and like Robert E. Howard and these types.
Yeah.
So
Robert E. Howard is a big inspiration for me in particular.
Yeah.
Robert E. Howard is. I can't think of I don't know. Like, when I think of prose and just the ways people write, I can't think of many that write better than him.
It's hard. Yeah.
He feels very modern. Yeah.
Yeah. Looking at all those great names.
Back in, like in the 30s, which is insane.
Looking at all those great Pulp writer names, I'm starting to kind of like think there's something special about Pulp, which kind of makes me think that it kind of makes sense that it's coming back. Like, I agree with it. Let's do that. More Pulp.
Well, I mean, it's also that like Hollywood is not producing anything of cultural significance, right? And they're just trying to kill Batman's parents for again and again.
That's what I do.
So and
zoom out a little bit. Let's decide which of these classes sounds best to each of us individually.
All right, I want to kind of get like a good view of it.
So. These are kind of like archetypes. You have complete freedom of what you want to make. We don't have a class system like D&D, so you can basically just do whatever you like. So if you want to make a secretary, you can.
That's a good idea. Kahuna, do you want to read the description of each one as I move it?
Yes. Uncover sinister plots as a relentless investigator.
Dun dun dun.
Also interesting about that character, he's a former West Africa sailor.
Oh, that's why he looks so menacing. Got it.
Yeah.
It's sick. It's sick. I like the style.
He's like, I got my fit, and you are going down, boy.
Clockwork Orange, right?
The facial body motion.
Yeah, and it does have that feel to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then.
Oh, wait. We got to do this right.
Yeah, there you get it.
Outsmart your foes with cutting-edge inventions as a cutting scientist.
Sorry, I was trying to be woman and I couldn't speak. So
you need the mask next time.
I am no man. So, is that like a eyes wide shut mask? I thought she was a robot at first, but that's kind of cool. I like the.
No, those are the masks of the Associates of Ishtar. They have kind of like this.
It's like a gas mask, kind of.
Yeah, if you go to the next one, I think that's the archetypical Associates with the field uniform. Yeah, so the idea is that the beak also hides like all the gadgets that are inside of the mouthpiece.
Cool.
So it also hides the filter. So it kind of, but the interesting thing for me about the Association of Ishtar are kind of like the shadow in many ways. And they are also a Rift cult, as their cult. So they have their own religious practices as well, which is interesting because many of its members also are Jews and Christians and that kind of stuff. So it's something that I want to explore further, like how they strike that balance between the goddess and their original faith.
I would be this guy. He looks like the Rocketeer, and I like that.
Yeah,
You
he
get a
does look like the
jetpack, we're in
Rocketeer.
business.
Yeah.
And
That's based on a costume of mine. One of the photos you saw in the movie,
in the trailer,
that's
yeah.
actually me wearing
Oh,
that
cool.
costume.
Cool.
Yeah, super.
It's a good looking costume.
Pilot powerful mechs as a casket girl. I could be a casket girl.
That's such a cool
Annihilating
name.
Eldritch Horror.
I'm sorry, that's just a cool name. Like if you're gonna come up with
It's actually a historical reference. There are women who actually were referred to as casket girls.
Yeah.
I could be a casket girl.
Let's see here. I'm gonna say some special features about the casket girl here. I'm gonna say it's really important that she has this bag.
That's a rare pistol.
By the way, brother. But I'm gonna say it's really important that she has this bag, and I'm gonna say this thing in her hand is cool, but not necessarily needed. Is this part of her personality here?
Well, actually, that's a signal lamp. That's what they actually look like. The dials you see on there are to shove the. They've multicolored glasses in there, so you can make the light blue or red or green, and use that to signal to allies in the dark. That's the idea.
Taking a second look at the casket girls and just hearing that very brief description and looking at the context of it too, with what you got going on here, I thought it was cool when I first heard it way back in the day when you were on a Drink with Crazy show, but taking a second look, I really think there actually is kind of something special here about like the concept, just the name, man. Like it's like a metal band. Like you win me over when you sound metal as hell. So
you can get the casket girls. I actually at the start of the launch I actually had a special casket girl tier, but no one got it, so I removed it. But you can get the Max and the special edition casket girl version of the CB3, as the mech is called. It's this one. My hope is I'm currently also working on a board game with a German company, and once that one is done, I hope we make a casket girl board game. That's kind of a mix of tactical board game with a deck builder.
Because, bro, people like their power armor, and there's currently a cultural war happening just within the Warhammer space of female space marines and stuff. Like, there's clearly an issue going on there. So if you have an entire like class of like basically power armor mech piloting badasses, and they all happen to be female, I really think that you'll appeal to a certain crowd of people.
Yeah, well, the thing also with the casket girls is like this is an altered 19th century. All the other military units are all males. Yeah. So I was thinking, cooler. So that the girls are gonna have like the mechs, because the guys are gonna have the hazard suits, which are basically just power armors, although a lot more clunky and stuff like that. They're more kind of like deep sea divers on land.
When I am encountered with the modern political topic of should women be allowed in the military, my first thought pragmatically is, well, yeah, doesn't it make sense that they drive stuff, pilot stuff, operate stuff? Like, yes, we all know that, like, on the front, it's probably a bad idea for the front lines, right? Like, yes, we can kind of all agree when we look at everything from the outside looking in. But that's where I concede ground is like, why not pilot things, right? But I get like prisoners still happen in any scenario, so I get it. But like, yeah, putting them in mechs. Amazing idea. It's something I myself would think of too.
And I actually have like a historical basis for it. Like casket girls were originally women who were sent to the colonies to civilize the colonies. What happens is that at one of these islands they have like kind of like Quartermass-esque experiment, shall we say, which causes that the entire Devil's Island, an actual island, gets infested by aliens. And they kind of like, they already separated the female convicts from the male population for obvious reasons. So yeah, they kind of like use them to experiment with these mechs. But the original Casket Girls are like are convicts serving in the penal legion, and where the books about the Casket, because it's also a book for those who are just joining us, is that they are going to be a story of like how they go independent, essentially. So the idea is that there's going to be all these Casket Girl companies who go out where these infestations are on trains. So maybe I'll do like a contest when the second book is close to being done, and that's probably also going to be the next Kickstarter. So we're gonna do like a contest design for Casket Girl companies or something like that. I don't know. But what else is what I want to do is because feminism is a big thing, and my idea is that, of course, these Casket Girls are gonna really market themselves because they need work. And my idea is that some like middle class women in England pick up the idea of like female empowerment and start like their own Casket Girl company, essentially, of like all these middle class women. And that there's like gonna be this internal strife between two types of Casket Girls, like the middle class Casket Girls and like the former convict class of Casket Girls.
So would the first type be like the bougie elitist, like I get it as a hobby because I have a rich husband?
Yeah, something. Yeah, well, at least that's how it kind of starts.
Yeah. And then the other one would be like
more similar
mechanics.
to one another as this develops. But I think there's gonna be like this very conflicting type of culture. But like one of the Casket Girls, I have this idea actually joins a knightly order. That also starts to emerge. And to kind of support knights in power armor kind of deal. But I also have this idea for like a papal group of Casket Girls who join like the Swiss Guard, as it were. So this is like they also mature, and some may like embrace their faith again. Like I've got this idea for the Black Widows, the typical revenge story of a woman who wants to take revenge on the cultist who murdered her husband, and all those types of stories. So you can have like this kind of like Western-esque revenge stories about the Casket Girls, or just kind of like more knightly stories about Casket Girls.
That'd be cool.
That's kind of like my idea for them. If I ever have time to write all of that, I don't know. But that's also why I want to like create a writing community around this setting, so people can like, I've got guys who want to write stories based upon the history of the Oyster Wars, which is an actual thing. But if someone's like, oh, I want to write like my own Casket Girl stories,
that'd be cool.
I want to facilitate that as well.
That'd be cool. Kahuna, you want to read us this puppeteer line?
Command deadly drones as a puppeteer hunting down your prey.
I like the idea of being a drone pilot.
Yeah.
This is like it's like I'm a warrior.
Yeah.
I am the deadliest person in the sky. On the ground.
Yeah.
Kicking your legs.
This guy caught my eye. He kind of reminds me of like Cobra Commander from G.I. Joe a little bit, or like the
Cobra. Now you mention it, yeah.
What makes him an airborne dragoon? Does he have jetpack of some kind, or
they actually have some airborne vehicles called Nimrods, which are like
this is
very small, self-levitating ships. Something that I really need to explore more. I have some ideas for short stories that I want to write about the airborne dragoons to kind of get into the spirit of things.
That'd be cool. You really, this list here is a gold mine of stories, because stories are a collection of characters in a setting doing a plot. So here's a bunch of characters. You have like one wing of all these different, I don't know, flavors, I'll say.
Yeah.
But yeah, the final one here, Kahuna, what do we got here with the engineer?
Forge your dreams into reality as an engineer. designing unstoppable vehicles.
Ah, cool.
That guy kind of looks like he would be forging like mostly really cool sports cars.
Yeah. Cool. Hot rods.
He's like, I do. It's like I do two things. I design cool cars and I pick up women. And there are no more women.
And there's no more women. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why he takes them off the battlefield. Like, come on, ladies, you don't want to fight.
That's why there is a battlefield. Yeah.
It's like I know the work that I'm doing could save millions, but you're kind of cute. I'll give you like a frumpy 4 out of 10, but let's go.
Frumpy 4. Yeah.
I meant that as in a complimentative way too, because when I see a character, I'm like, that character looks cool. That's what you want, right? You want to look at a character and have the person be like, that guy's cool. Even if the association isn't what you're going for, it's like it something connected, and that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So take us away a little bit more. What are some parting things you can leave our chat here with your
I hope the project strikes your fancy and that you'll support it. For those not interested in the game, we also have just the reading books as a tiers as well. And we also have like a great lore book you can get as an add-on, which really like explains like the world and how it became that way. We are trying to be more than just a book series with a game attached. We try to also create like an actual community so people can also like, well, what if this happened in history, kind of deal. So we also have like a social. We also have social.
Sorry.
Yeah, we also have social stretch goals. We also have videos which you can enjoy on YouTube, where I blend actual history with science fiction. So a lot of what I talk about actually happened in history. We also have some video reviews by people. Like he did a review of the alpha, so to speak.
Yeah, it's a good thumbnail too.
Yeah, it's a great video, by the way.
Yeah,
and so we've got the player guide. We've got the core rule book with everything. The player guide's kind of like the stripped down version of the core rule book. We also have for people who pledge a certain amount, will also get beta access to all the PDFs, so you can test it yourself and give feedback, so we can improve things of it. We've got art tiers as well. If you want like a cool avatar drawn by Johan, he's a great artist.
Johan Alexander.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did my cover. So yeah, Small World, good guy.
Yeah,
really good artist.
I know that name.
I know that name. Johan Alexander. Shout outs to him. He's a good guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
We're working together now for like close to 3 years.
Nice.
And we also have the miniatures. You can get the miniature sets starting at €50. We also have a deluxe version.
Who modeled those for you?
Zeman Studios. They worked also for Rebellion Studios.
Ooh. Oh, really? Well, how do you spell that name? Is it with a Z?
ZMIY.
Studios. Okay, cool. Yeah, I love the 3D models. Like, I have a printer, and I never know what to print. And I see this kind of stuff. I'm like, man, somebody knows how to use Blender, and it's not me, and I'm jealous. These are cool.
Yeah, maybe that's something that you could learn.
We've got over 20 miniatures now, including some big ones.
The mech was cool. That's a great design to see.
Yeah, I like the four
I saw people online painting it. I'm like, oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I have not seen those.
Yeah.
Was that Paladin Dragoon?
We also have the Dragoon, yes.
Well, our buddy Paladin Dragoon. I know he's into minis. I was wondering.
Yeah, he actually likes minis. I used to like minis. Yeah. I still do. I just don't have time for them. So here we are.
Yeah, that is nearly done. That one, Rising Tide, with a Rutger Hauer inspired cover.
So that cover is interesting because it's clever because there's art within art.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's a little tricky to do, which is probably why it's noticeable. But just because it's noticeable doesn't mean bad. I love this. I love this cover.
I like
Yeah,
I
love
like
the pose, man.
guy dual wielding the pistols is like, hey
Yeah.
honey, look, I can do two at the same time.
He's actually inspired by these two characters. Are actually inspired by Dutch comic book characters.
Oh, cool.
And this is and one of them is Shorsh and Shimmy, which is two characters that I grew up with.
Shorsh and Shimmy.
Shorsh and Shimmy. Yeah,
sick. I like it. Oh, there's that mech again. What do we got here? It opens. What?
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Wow, dude.
Special
Is that
edition.
a casket girl?
That's Toinette.
Do you want her to be
the casket girl? Oh man. Oh, Pete. Oh man, that's sick. Okay, all right. This is awesome. I think for the final section of the show, after we're done with this, we should. I think the two main subjects, judging by chat and kind of what's going down this week, is I know one main thing being talked about is the Animal Farm stuff. So I think that'll be one of the main things.
And the mule farm.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought on the second thing. I'm sure it'll return to me. Pulp in general, Pulp.
likey Pulp.
We can end the show that way, but yeah. So get an illustration by Johan, right?
Yep.
Sick. Man, I should utilize Johan more.
Yeah, this art is. I love the style, man. His characters are cool. I don't know if that's descriptions you came up with just coming to life, but
well, I make the designs and then he executes them.
Yeah, they are cool, man. You got a good eye.
Yeah. You guys are communicating well too. That's another good thing, because you could have somebody who doesn't really have a fleshed out idea, but they could just communicate with an artist really well, and suddenly it becomes something really special too. I think the communication is a really important thing.
Yeah,
no, it is, and everybody has a different style. Whenever I've worked with artists, my general principle is to give them an idea, and then we'll give them as much creative freedom as I can.
Yeah.
Now, some people are need to be more specific, and I'm not hating on that at all. But just for me, I've usually gotten better results from my artists when I've given them as much free reign as I can.
Mm-hmm.
I think too often artists are like, you have to do it like this perfectly, and if it's not, it's garbage, and I don't want it.
Yeah, you didn't tell me enough. Yeah. I got you.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I said tree. What more do you want?
I'm right there with Kahuna though. I did the same thing with my tattoo artists. I basically was like,
well, that's going on your body. I think being more specific there might be not kidding.
But yeah, I was just like, here's this idea, draw it in your style. What were you gonna say, Evalie?
Whenever I see, like, obviously in our community, we're in touch with a lot of really talented artists, and I feel about the art the way I'm sure a lot of women feel about purses or shoes. I'm like, I have art. I have an artist who's awesome, does good work. I'm set. I should be happy with just that artist. But every time I see another artist, I'm like, ooh, I kind of want that artist too now. And I see another one, I'm like, I already have good art from a couple places, but I kind of want this art too, because like it's just
No, we have art at home.
Man, how can I?
We have a gym at home right now, and I have a bunch of anime and story art that I need to put up.
We do a play test tomorrow night on our server, by the way, for those who want to join.
Play test.
Sick. You ever stream that?
Not yet, but that's what we kind of hope to do in the future. Yeah.
Good content. Yeah.
Everyone was talking about the Harry Potter casting earlier. You know, if we're recasting Harry Potter for the new series, why not go all the way and make Quirrell Arabic? I mean, come on, he already has the turban.
Yeah, just pull the trigger.
It's right there.
Just pull the trigger on it. Yeah. Just go all in. So yeah, that was the other thing too. Not just Pulp. It was Harry Potter was the other thing I was trying to think of. But yeah, that's a good segue here. You got some amazing stuff going on there, Bonsart.
Yeah.
We're very privileged to have you on as a guest on the show. Thank you for sharing. I hope you get some backers, and I hope our channels can become close friends going forward in the future.
Yeah, sure. We can do more often, or at a more favorable time for me. Speaking of which, I also see that the sun is coming up, so.
Well, that's a great gift we've given to you. You get to see the sun.
Oh man, and yeah, now that you've You've done all of your obligations. If you want to hang out, you can. But I understand.
Yeah, I
it's very
think I'm
late.
gonna go back to bed.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I
understand.
do not blame you.
And
Before
Evalie, I
you
know.
go, wait. There's something not addressed.
Yes.
Why is there a doll on your chest?
Oh, yeah.
This is Anwen.
Enwin?
Okay, that's all I need to know.
Yes. Yes.
She also has her own book that's also for sale, and if we reach enough backers, we also will have a card set where you can have your own Anwen in the Nightwatch game.
Oh, sweet. I'm a little concerned, but it's cool.
Oh yeah,
I
the
need
reactions to the book are hilarious. It's so cute and also so creepy. Yeah.
That's the key. It's like we got to ride that line of like the Coraline movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, if you got to bounce, that's cool. If you want to hang out, that's cool. Evalie, I know it's also late on your end, so same deal with you. If either of you guys have final words now, would be a good time. Otherwise, we can chill for a little bit longer, talk some Harry Potter, some Animal Farm, and some Pulp. So that's the plan.
Yeah. Now then I think I'm gonna bounce. So
Okay.
yeah, and Skunk says bye, Anwen. Yes, bye.
Thanks for coming, brother. We really appreciate you. So
Yeah. Thanks for being up at ungodly.
Yes, and thanks for having me. It was fun.
Yeah. Cheers.
There, dude.
Good night.
And I too, I'm gonna take my leave. I don't really have anything fancy or exciting
Actually,
to say.
I'm barely able to keep my eyes open. Maybe right. I would like to talk about more stuff, dude. I'm suffering.
All right. Well, you heard it here, folks. Maybe we will reserve the Harry Potter talk and the Pulp talk for this next week.
Talk about Black Snape and
Yeah,
terror.
And the terrorist wearing guy with a turban on his head.
Yeah, that guy.
Can you guys imagine 2001 Harry Potter the Sorcerer's Stone comes out right after 9/11 and the main villain of your first movie has a turban?
Yeah.
Like, I know it's a coincidence, but that's really wild.
Yeah, they did that, didn't they?
Also, for those wondering, yes, there is Harry Potter fan fiction about the attack on the Two Towers. It does exist, and I have read it.
What did you say, Evalie?
It's literally called
I don't know.
I don't know if it still exists, guys, but it used to be called Tumbling Towers.
Oh my goodness.
Where to God.
Harry Potter and the Tumbling Towers? Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh man.
What have we stumbled upon? What did I step in?
Oh, magic.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, keep all of our content is scheduled out throughout the entire week. Our hot days are Monday through Thursday, so check back on the channel those days. Check out the
hot day for me.
Yes.
Every single one.
Hold on, keep doing that. Keep doing. Okay. Oh, never mind. Okay. So check in through the weekend for our shorts, and we'll look at Harry Potter, another Animal Farm thing, and Pulp for the following week, unless something bigger pops up. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Just say what.
And until next time, my co-hosts are awesome. Cheers, everybody.
Well, fine. You know what, Barney? Give this guy a cigarette. He's freaking out. Huh? Who? Barney. He's the guy who tipped me off to Pepe Sylvia. Barney? Who the hell is Barney? You don't see... Oh, shit. Where the hell are he?